Hello, I know it's been a while since I last recorded and provided an update. I reviewed my last video and it seemed as the last time I did an update was when I was about 9 weeks. So I since then had my 12 and a half week, 13 week appointment, which consisted of the ultra screen to make sure that the babies didn't have any Down syndrome. And when we went there, one of the babies, baby B, was very super active, and baby A was active as well, but baby 2 put on a show. Baby B, I mean, put on a show, and it was really funny and cute. And what they did was they measured the necks of the babies to make sure that they said something about if it's less than 3 millimeters, then you don't have to worry about any type of Down syndrome. And baby A measure 1.1 and baby B measure 1.0. So both of them appear to be in the normal range. So they did do blood work. I haven't received my blood work back. Well, I'm pretty sure they received it back since it's been at least 5 weeks now. But what they end up saying is that they'll contact me if there was any type of concerns. But apparently there weren't, because I haven't had any type of updates in regards to it. So at that visit, they did provide me with plenty of ultrasound pictures. And I don't know if you can, really see, but the top one, it doesn't have a baby A or baby B, but it's baby A. And you can kind of tell that this one is baby B because how it's sitting on top. I don't know if you can see the hand up in the air or whatnot. And then they have them together and so forth. So they did provide a lot of pictures during this ultrasound, which was pretty cool, because since our losses and everything, I was kind of scared. Even though there was no bleeding at this point, it's just you don't really know what's going on. You don't feel anything, and then when you go to your visit, you're like, okay, I want to make sure that everything is fine. So at that visit, everything went good. Since then, I've been really tired. I want to say about 14 weeks is when I was able to start eating really good without having any type of issues or any type of nausea. And then when I became, let's see, about 16 weeks, I ended up getting a really bad kidney infection. The kidney infection sent me to the hospital. I was hospitalized for 5 days with the highest temperature of 103. And they were like, okay, we cannot send you home. We have to make sure that your temperature break. And we just want to make sure everything is cool. I forget the medical term of the kidney infection, but pretty much they told me that it's common with pregnant women. I know that when I went to my first prenatal care visit with my OBGYN, and back in August, he told me that I had a UTI. He gave me medicine. And then when I did a follow-up visit, I still had the UTI. So they gave me more medicine. So apparently the medicine that I was given, it wasn't treating the bacteria infection. And what ended up happening is it caused bacteria to flow into the kidneys, which ultimately sent me to the hospital. So because this is not my first go around with pregnancies, this is actually my 5th pregnancy, and I don't have any living children, my doctor knows how important it is for me to be a sane mind. So I told him, I said, look, doctor, this is really stressful, even though nothing at this point really happened. But who really has all of these different issues during their pregnancies? And I just told him, I said, I don't really feel comfortable working. I have anxiety. Not to mention, when I was in a hospital, my heart rate was an average of 145. And they said that, typically a normal range of heart rate is 60 to 100. And they were really concerned about that. I did have to get an EKG done, and I did have to get ultrasound of the heart. They weren't concerned too much because they said that when it comes to an infection, your heart rate speeds up to, of course, fight the infection. And then not to mention, since I'm carrying twins and the extra flow of blood, it could be the reason why the heart rate was sped up the way it was. So, but they did have some type of concerns. After they did the ultrasound, they were like, your heartbeat hasn't skipped a beat. Your heartbeat is, pretty much normal. It's just beating fast. And then since at 16 weeks, I have to get progesterone shots in my butt. Administered by a nurse from a care, is to prevent preterm labor It's different from the IVF progesterone shots. And the nurse was like, well, could have been, you know, not only that, it could have been anxiety. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about anxiety. And I was like, I really do have anxiety. So even though, like I said, not too many major things are going on with this pregnancy, it's just that my prior experience is coming forth. Like I try not to live in the past or anything like that. I'm trying to keep a sane mind, but I just can't help. I'm normal, and it's natural for you to be worried in anybody pregnancy, you know, even if you didn't have any prior losses. So spiritually, I know things are going to be okay, but mentally, things keep playing in my head. Like if I have to, you know, use the bathroom, do number 2, you know, your stomach start cramping up a little bit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I about to go into labor, or is something going to happen? So I get paranoid. And then, you know how when pregnancy, your extra hormones down there gets a little bit more wet than normal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is my water breaking? Like I just really try to be at ease, but really I can't be at ease. And it's kind of, it's scary because I don't want to think negative. I don't want to think nothing is wrong, but it just keeps coming in play because of, like I said, again, my prior experience. And when I go to the bathroom, I'm always checking to make sure there's no blood. I am currently 18 weeks now, so although I'm past the quote unquote scary stage, it's still scary to me because the longest I carried a baby was at 24 weeks. And that's when I had to have my emergency C-section. And that's when I ended up getting choreo from bacteria setting in from when I had the vaginal stitch, the emergency stitch that time. So I am kind of on the nervous side. I did go to, well, while I was in the hospital, they did an ultrasound on a daily basis just to make sure the babies are fine. They kept saying, hey, you know, we don't want to do the Doppler because we don't know which baby we're going to hear. We want to make sure that both of them are doing good. And my family came in, my dad and my mom came in to visit, and they were having a good time because they were able to see the ultrasound. And baby B, like I said, always showing out. What we came to find out is that baby B is a boy and baby A is a girl. So we're super excited that we get to have one of each. Well, excuse me, baby B was over there putting his butt all up in his sister's face. Now, although they're separated by the membrane, it was just really, really funny because all you seen was just butt up in the air and it's hitting her face. Then he turned over and started kicking her in her head, and her head's bobbing like this. And we're like, what the heck? How you going to be beating up your sister like that? And so you could tell she was probably sleeping or just, you know, just not really doing nothing because she wasn't moving as much. The next thing you know, she just started kicking him, like welling at him. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, she's over there trying to fight back. And so we were able to get ultrasound pictures that day. And baby A, little girl, she had put her thumbs up in the air, and it was just the cutest little thing. To us, we made a joke like, yeah, I'm okay right now. Yes, he's beating me up, but I'm going to let you know that I'm okay. But after these cameras quit rolling, I'm going to go get him. I'm going to make sure that we're off camera that time. I got to show my tail. But it was just super, super funny. And we enjoyed every moment of it. And actually, we didn't even find out at that point that there was boy-girl twins. We actually found out a couple of days later. Our nurse did a reveal, and it was an awesome reveal. And it was just, overall, the hospital stay was scary because I'm like, here for 5 days. I don't know what's going on besides the kidney infection. I'm worried about the babies. I'm worried about what's going to happen. You know, they say that it's normal. You know, it will not really normal, but it tends to happen a lot in pregnancies. And so I'm just like, man, any chance that anything could go wrong, it will go wrong with me. So like I said, I was just really, really extra going through it at that moment. But the hospital stay itself was good. I did have a good time, and the nurses, the staff, everybody was really, really nice. And ultimately, they were able to get that fever down, and I was able to go home. Now, I do have to take meds for 2 weeks, and it's nerve-wracking because I have to take it one pill every 6 hours. So that means I'm constantly drinking, constantly using the bathroom. Excuse me again. You already know you're going to be using the bathroom, period, without even having to drink so much fluid. So imagine drinking a lot more fluid and waking up in the middle of the night using a bathroom. I mean, it's all going to be worth it at the end, but it's just, a little tedious and whatnot. But I also have to continue to take 1 pill a day until I end up delivering, which I have to do via C-section because of the permanent stitch, the transabdominal cerclage place, and also because of the prior classical C-section. So at 36 weeks put me about the beginning of March. We haven't determined a day that we're going to actually do the C-section, but it's going to be somewhere around that time. Next week, I do have to go to my high-risk doctor, do my first visit, and do the anatomy scan of the babies. They said they would do a complete body scan of the babies from head to toe, make sure their heart is good, their lungs, and do everything. So even though we already know that it's boy-girl twins, at least next week for sure, we would know that it's boy-girl twins. So, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that that's what it is and that is nothing different. And other than that, here goes the little belly bump. I don't know if you can see right there. It's sticking out there. And then here it is. And then here. So, I don't know. It is kind of big. And so, another thing that I found out is that I have a introvert placenta, because I was wondering why I don't feel the babies that much. Well, I do kind of feel them a little bit. It's mainly, let's see, it's mainly like right here and right here is where I kind of feel them. And then, and it's kind of like an itch inside. Not really an itch, but it's kind of painful where I can feel them in my cervix part where they're kicking down. But I was wondering why I don't feel them as much movement. And my doctor told me because I have the introvert placenta and it's about like an inch thick from the top. He was like, yeah, you're not going to feel that much because the babies are still really little. He was like, but maybe around 23 weeks or so, you'll start feeling more because of that thickness of the placenta is not allowing you to feel them and have that reassurance. Because I'm like, doctor, you know, when I had my natural, not saying these are natural, but you know, these are IVF babies. But when I had my natural pregnancies, at least 14 and a half, 15 weeks, I was able to feel some type of movement kicking. And then it progressed, at least by the time 18 weeks came. And now I'm just still feeling slight movements as if with like, I'm, you know, just trying to figure out what's going on. So he just told me not to worry about. And another thing not to worry about is because I see the nurse every week, once a week, to administer the progesterone shots. And then of course I see the doctors, but I think I'm going to go get a Doppler to be on the safe side. I don't know, because again, the anxiety and everything of that nature. And so I'm just trying to take it day by day. So I am currently on a rest and relaxing, and I'm just trying to ease my mind and make sure that I bring these babies home safe. And when I went to my appointment in the hospital, they did do a cervical scan, and my cervix is at a 3.7 centimeters, so that's good. I don't think I ever had that length ever measured ever before, so I can say that my transabdominal cerclage is really doing its job. Again, I'm 18 weeks. By this time, I would have had to have an emergency stitch placed because I did lose 2 babies in my 4th month. My first time being pregnant, I was 17 weeks and 5 days. And when the second time, I had the emergency stitch placed at 18 weeks. And then the 3rd baby, I ended up losing him at 16 and a half weeks. So at least I am 18 weeks and 1 day now. So far so good. Again, I had my cervical scan last week when I was in the hospital, and everything is measuring good. So for any of you ladies who are trying to get pregnant or who is going through IVF and who's worried about transferring 2, 3, 4, however many you worried about transferring, I can assure you that as of right now, everything is good. My cervix has never been this length. It has never held this strong, and I'm perfectly satisfied with it. So, you know, I guess this is your preference, but again, a lot of people who have had numerous pregnancies before, who have lost and who has had a TAC done, they were able to successfully carry their baby or babies. So, so far so good, and I can only live by what the doctors and them said, and right now I'm living proof that my cervix is still intact and is very, very long. And again, I haven't had it this length ever, and I will update you guys again. Hopefully it won't be 2 months before I update you again, but hey, now that I'm off of work, I have more time to be able to go ahead and do more. But before, it was just no excuses. But before, I worked third shift, and when I'm off, I don't really feel like doing anything but laying around. You ladies know how it is on a normal day, let alone being pregnant, then pregnant with twins and everything of that nature. So I hope this video help out. It's just my own personal experience that I'm going through, but baby A and baby B are good, and I can't wait to continue to see them grow, and I can't wait for them to get here so that way I can just love all of them. You guys have a good day.